And you just make sure. And we're recording. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Silos Comics. My name is Carlos, and today we have comic book reviews. We're gonna be going over the reads that I was able to manage to get done from Wednesday, December 18, 2019. We're gonna start with Marvel. So let's take a look. The first book in Marvel that I would like to review is Ghost Spider number 5. As you can see right here, we have Ghost Spider being proposed. This creature right here, he believes that she belongs to him. I don't know if in a romantic matter, I don't know if it means possession in itself, but yeah. Let's start with the cover. Awesome cover. The art is, I will give it a 4 out of 5, perhaps. Story, I'm gonna have to give it a 3 out of 5. There is progression finally with this story. The previous 2 issues, they kind of been a little bit slow. No, not too much going on besides just portraying her life as a student. Again, this does the same. It portrays the life as a student. She's on the 616 universe or dimension, whatever you want to call it. And she's living her regular life there. Now she goes back to her regular universe to go to band practice, because you know that's the reason. And the gentleman follows her, and captures her. He ends up running into some criminals, tries to join that gang. He ends up running into his version of that universe, and both of them are able to catch her. One thing leads to another. I don't want to give too much away, but he becomes the only version of himself in that universe. And now we gotta see what happens after that. So it's a good read. Like I mentioned, the previous 2 episodes, chapters are a little bit slow. So just be aware of that if you want to start picking it up. But yeah, Ghost Spider number 5. Next in Marvel, we're going with the heavy hitters this week. We're gonna do X-Force number 4. Let's begin with a little bit prelude to what has happened before. So the whole thing started with Professor Xavier being shot, assassinated, and just how the whole Krakoa nation is dealing with this situation. As we know, the X-Force is pretty much like a CIA type of unit for the Krakoa nation at this point. And finally, in this issue, they actually say, okay, X-Force is going to become like a CIA, and we have the brains, the spirit for it, which is the psychic, the telepaths, and now they're looking for the brute force, the actual heavy hitters for this team, which will be like the Delta team for it. And they have Domino, they have Kid Omega, they have Wolverine as members of them. So pretty much in this issue, again, it goes back to the whole thing that humans have been able to infiltrate Krakoa, and now they have to fight back. And while this issue is going on, some other people are trying to infiltrate another of their facilities. So the team, as I mentioned, Domino, Kid Omega, and Wolverine had to go to it. And it ends on a banger. I'm gonna give the spoiler alert for this right here. It ends as the previous issues. Some previous issues of this run have ended. We have Kid Omega and Wolverine either decapitated or cut in half. I don't want to show you the picture because I want you guys to see it for yourselves. But it's a beautiful way to end the book, and it makes you want to read the following issue. So right there, X-Force number 4. Next and last for the books that I was able to read for Marvel, we have Marauders number 4. To begin with, this cover is just beautiful. We have Storm and a ship on the back where she's attacking. Pretty much again is the story of Katie Pryde becoming the Red Queen. And on this issue, we're looking at her trying to enlist Bishop as her Red Bishop, which a little fun in there. And the whole issue is amazing. It starts with them being in Brazil, rescuing a couple kids. They're trying to escape from that nation and go to Krakoa. We have Storm being a badass from the get-go. After that, we do have the interaction between Kid Pride and Bishop. And it's a fun interaction, especially when they're about to infiltrate the facility. It's just funny. I don't want to spoil it for you guys because I found it very funny. So definitely check it out. Marauders number 4. Now moving on to the DC. Now DC, I was able to read about one book more this week. But let's start with my favorite for the week, Justice League number 38. So we finally get into the end of the whole Justice versus Doom situation that's been going on in the Year of the Villain. On this issue, we have the Justice League confronting Lex Luthor. Now, they know that it's a battle that is not going to be won. However, as they mentioned, they're like, we're here to fight, and we're just going to go down swinging. And as Batman say it, swinging in style. So it was a great issue. A lot of action, a lot of fighting. And the best part to me is how they give each of the main characters or the main members of the Justice League that single scene of them attacking Lex Luthor and showing their strength, and then right after showing how Lex Luthor can immediately just be like whatever to their attacks, and that's just badass to begin with. I don't want to give too much spoilers because the ending of this issue is amazing. If you have been following the whole Year of the Villain situation going on Justice League, you're going to appreciate that very much. I'm just going to mention is something to do with Martian Manhunter, and his son from the different dimension or reality or whatever you want to call it. And it's just awesome. The last page is just... I can't wait for the next issue, pretty much. That's it. But yeah, art, I would say is a 4.5 out of 5. Story, I will give it a 4.5 out of 5 as well. So that's for the first DC book. The next book in my list, continuing with the whole Year of the Villain, Lex Luthor situation, we have Year of the Villain, Hell Arisen. Now, obviously I picked up this book because, I don't know if you guys know, but I'm pretty sure I mentioned it. The Batman Who Laughs is becoming one of my top 3 or top favorite character or villain in itself. And I couldn't pass that out. We have Lex Luthor or Apex Lex Luthor going head to head with the Batman Who Laughs. The whole scenario starts with Lex Luthor visiting the dimension with the crime syndicate and then trying to plead to Perpetua in order to get a piece of the action. Eventually he has to come back to the regular multiverse, his planet, in order to deal with a low situation, and the situation itself is the Batman Who Laughs. As Perpetua mentions, he's from the dark multiverse, something that she did not create and something that can potentially harm her, so he has to take care of this. Now, the Batman Who Laughs, so it's just pretty much Batman, prepare for any scenario with just the added benefit that he is just nuts. And we can definitely see that in this issue. We all know Lex Luthor is a great mind. However, he just gets owned by the Batman Who Laughs and the Infected Six. And if you haven't read it, I definitely suggest you do. It gives you a good, not background, but a good idea of what happened before everything unfolded and the interaction that he had with the Batman Who Laughs before everything went down. And now that the Batman Who Laughs is all set up with his 6 members, it's just going to be an awesome thing to go forward from here. It's an issue 1 out of 4, so I definitely suggest you guys picking it up. Art, I will give you a 4.3. Story, I will give you a 4.4. But yeah, definitely a good read. Next, going with the same feel, we're going Batman and Superman. Now, this right here, pretty much it goes a little bit before the previous book that I just mentioned. We have the Sinister Six still trying to bring the satellite from the dark multiverse into the regular multiverse in order to get more infection and all that stuff expanded. What is great about this book is that Shazam, and I can never remember her name. Hopefully you guys can see her right here. they attack Superman, and Superman has to chase them in order to try and dismantle or like stop the satellite from coming down to Earth. And while doing so, Superman gets to see what happened to the Justice League of the Dark Multiverse. Sadly, all of them are dead, including himself from that universe or multiverse, Lois Lane, and their kid, which makes Superman lose his mind and go ballistic on them. Thankfully, Batman was able to, bring him back into reality in a sense and make him stop and realize that they're just distracting him and that he should be focused in stopping the satellite. While that's happening, something very awesome is happening on the ground with infected Commissioner Gordon and infected Beetle. Batman is confronting them in order to try and stop it from Earth. And what Batman does is, or at least what Batman says is, the Beetle, the person itself is infected, but not the suit. So he's able to take over the suit with some technology that he has created or he has planned out as a scenario in this issue. And that right there was just an awesome situation, an awesome scene. So definitely worth reading it. We're in issue 5, but yeah, definitely worth the read right here. And if you're enjoying the Batman Who Laughs, leave a comment, let me know, because I'm definitely am. Lastly, for DC, we had Batman number 85, the last Tom King issue for the run. I personally didn't mind Tom King writing it. I really enjoyed the issues. I enjoy the feel and emotion that he's portraying from Batman itself and the whole situation with him and the death of Alfred and him confronting his father and finally getting some closure with Catwoman and their relationship. So I definitely enjoyed the issue. Again, I know people hated Tom King's run. I enjoyed it. I enjoy his take on Batman and Catwoman, and I enjoy how he's ending it. They finally together, even though they're not married, even though they were about to get married, and him just confronting his dad and putting end to the things and just straight up, like he has been saying, you're not my father. So art, I will give it a 4.8. Story, I know people are gonna hate on it, but I enjoyed it. I will give it a 4.3. So it was definitely a nice read. And yep, the last Tom King issue right here. And that's pretty much for DC. Lastly, we're gonna just review 2 indie books that I got a chance to read so far. And pretty much I got to read them because they're my favorite indies going on right now. So let's start with Once and Future number 5. We have Galahad and the Holy Grail right here. Awesome cover. It's just beautiful the way that the Grail shines upon the darkish cover. The issue itself was great. We get a little more background about the main character, about the grandmother and the reasons of how he raised him. And there's a fun interaction between them. Jokes about him maybe being a virgin, which it was funny and well placed. We see the grandmother tricking him into destroying the Holy Grail that they were looking for. Sadly, the grandma is wounded. I don't want to give you spoilers of how that happens, but she's wounded, and the nephew and the grandson has to find a way to kind of heal her. While he's hunting for the Holy Grail, he gets to understand the fact that things happen, I guess, on this situation by believing in them, by believing in these fairy tales and these stories. And this makes him decide at the end of the issue to go looking for a sword or a weapon of sorts in order to keep going on. Now, the weapon that he's able to pull out of Healing Waters, per se, is none other than Excalibur. But the way that the sword comes out of the water, you know there's something attached to this, and there's going to be something twisted. Because the sword does come out of the water, but it has some green, nasty, old-looking hands in them. And you know something bad is going to come with this. But he was able to pull that sword out of the water, so hey, who knows. But yeah, Once and Future, number 5. Awesome read, definitely recommended. Art, a 4.85, I will say. Story, I'll give a 4.9. It's not perfect, but it's definitely worth the read. So definitely check it out if you get a chance. Lastly, Folklores number 2. Now, Folklores number 1, great issue. I would say this one follows right at the same level. Art a 4.8, story a 4.85, 4.9. I don't want to give it a 5 because it could be a little bit better still, but definitely a great read. We have a kid who lives in a village with, fairy tale type of situation. But for him, folk tales or fairy tales are us. Our real lives, going to a 9 to 5 job, regular life or regular lives. And his quest at age of 18, he decides, I'm going to go and look for this place. Now, this book does a great job in continuing from issue 1, where he goes and escapes the village with a companion in order to go after this quest of his. What can I say? I don't want to give too much away, but we get a lot of background on how he came to decide on this quest, as well as some little hints that might have given us an idea of the real reason that he's doing this quest, or a reason that he's not yet aware of why he's doing this quest. And that's just awesome. If you guys get a chance, if you can pick it up at your LCS, definitely do so. If you guys want to order it online, I would say do it. This right here, awesome book, issue 1 and 2. And, Boom Studios been putting some fire right now, so definitely keep an eye for them. But yeah, those are the books I got to read this week. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the reviews. If you have any comments, or if you thought that some of those books were booty, just drop down a comment. Let me know what you thought. Let me know if you know any books that I should be reading that you guys might want to enjoy or want to talk about. Let me know. I'm gonna be putting my some videos right here for you guys to check out. If you guys enjoy the content I'm putting out, don't forget to subscribe, leave a like, and like I say, just leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Let's talk about these books, and see you on the next time.